Okay. I think I'm recording, so I wanted to record it just in case it was helpful for somebody. Yes. All right. So if we were meeting in person, like we usually do at school, I would have several tables set up for you full of resources. As it is, those are in my office for your students to use. But I did want to make you aware of what is not in your folder that is also something you can access. There's a lot, one of our vendors that is very supportive of us and is a huge, praise God, is Marcy from Princeton Review, because she gives me so many current up-to-date resources that we would not be able to afford if it were not for her generosity. So she's the same ones that help us with our ACT and SAT practice tests, which you can still do online. I have sent you some of that information, those links that you can sign up for. We're just not doing it in person right now. Let me make sure I see a chat here. Let me ask. Okay. So there's lots of Princeton Review College resources in my room that students, just so you know, you are always welcome to partake in. And there's also military information from Futures magazines. I can connect you with any of the military branch officials that you'd like to speak with. And also, if you want to pursue sports in college, I have kind of separate materials that I will give you for that are a little different than just the academic part that we'll be talking about tonight. So know that those are options. I just didn't want to fill up your folder too much with all of that. I want to tell you about just a few things coming up. You should have kind of keep track of those emails I send out, because that's my way to communicate well with you. But there's a virtual college fair coming up this Sunday. Now, we normally have a great big NACAC college fair in the spring. I haven't been told if there's going to be a date that they're going to be doing a virtual one, but the one this Sunday is from 1 to 9. And don't worry, I will send all this out in a little cheat sheet, what I'm saying tonight, and you can sign up, but it's through virtualcollegefairs.org. And it's a wonderful opportunity to explore a lot of different colleges. You don't even have to go there. You get to talk to the admissions folks. And it can really open up some doors if you have questions about particular universities. So keep that in mind. We also have our Youth Career Fest that we took part in last year for the very first time. That's coming up as a virtual event, January 20th. And I just sent that information out last week to you to register for that. If you tell me, I will let her know the numbers, and your student will get that half day off to participate in that virtually online, and then they can come back to class in the second half of the day, whether that's virtual or on campus. So that's a great opportunity, because at that event, they have professors and professionals speaking from all kinds of government, whether it's hospitals or engineering firms, higher education, tech companies. And we've got a lot of incredible tech companies coming to Austin. So there's a lot of opportunities for internships for your students this summer. So that's a very good thing to be involved with if you're curious about that. Now, some students may be saying, I don't even know what I want to do in college. And I totally understand. At your age, you probably have a myriad of things, because you're such awesome students. You could do a lot of things that you might want to tap into. So I have this cool thing. It takes about 10 minutes. It's called iSeek Clusters. You can go to iSeek.org, and it's a survey, and it kind of matches you with your interests, the things you do well at. And so that's kind of a cool thing, and I'll include that in the email to you. It really only takes about 10 minutes, and it might be kind of enlightening if you're kind of juggling several options of what you want to do. And don't worry, when you're in school, it's okay if you change your mind. My daughter is an engineer, and she changed her mind 3 times on different engineering fields that she eventually got her degree in. So that's perfectly fine to do that. Another really cool thing that we offer, and I love Mr. Weil for doing this, in your junior English class, the end of the year,
Sorry.
I feed him all of the essay prompts that are going to be in the new application for the fall, and he practices them with you. So by the time you leave junior English in the spring, you will have your college essays all ready to pop right into your application. That's a huge blessing to have another teacher's eyes on your paper. You can send them to me. I will proofread them. But I don't know any other school that does that for students. And the stories you tell about yourself in your essays are very important. So those are just a few of the things I wanted to mention right off the top. I'm going to briefly go through your folder with you, and then I'll leave room for questions and answers at the end. And I have a drawing, several really incredible resources from Princeton Review that I've gotten for you. So that'll be fun at the end. So without further ado, we'll jump right in. You all can read really well, so I'm not going through every single sheet in detail. I'm just going to tell you how this folder is organized. And believe me, it has a lot of the answers you might need as you're beginning this process. So starting on the left side of the folder, in those big bold letters, you see my motto: seek excellence, pursue your passion. And I believe that we should do all things well. I don't care if you want to be a garbage collector, do it well. But you should pursue your passion, because God created in you that special thing, and maybe it's multiple things, but you got to find that niche, because then you enjoy the work you do. Now, don't tell Mr. D, but even if they didn't pay me, now I like to eat, so I kind of like to get paid, but even if they didn't, I would still wake up every morning and I could hardly wait to get to be with you, my students. So that is very important. Whatever you do, love it, okay? I love the next quote that's on that, right under there. Max Lucado is a really amazing man and an author. And he said, I think this fits all of you very well if you think about it: stand at the intersection of your affections and your successes. So the things you love to do, the things you do well, to find your uniqueness. And that's the path you want to follow. When I was in 3rd grade, I told my harp teacher that I wanted to be a school teacher. And she said, oh no, Diane, you should go be a performer, pursue harp. Well, I was a parent pleaser, a teacher pleaser, so I did. My first degree at UT is in harp performance, but my heart is really in teaching. So I got my master's in education at UT so that I could do what I really love, which is being with my students during the day, and I still get to go play harp at night and on the weekends and at church. So God has an amazing way of weaving all the parts of us together in very unique ways if we allow him to. All of my contact information is at the bottom of that sheet, and you'll notice my card there. Yes, I put my cell phone there. I don't sleep much, so you just call me anytime. Some of my seniors, they'll call me like 12:30 or 1, text me that long. I'm usually still up. Just between 2 and 5, I'm kind of sleeping. So don't hesitate. I'm here for you. And so just keep that number handy. I tell them to put me in their phone as either Rep Dog or my favorite teacher. Either one works. Okay, let's kind of go through this folder a little bit. On the left side, we're just following through it. Parents, there's a sheet right there for you that says Parent Perspective. I want you to be so involved in this process, and I want to help you as well. So if you have any concerns or questions or some direction you need, fill that out, send it with your student to me at school, and I will make sure we make contact and I help you with those things. this is very important to me that we work together as a team. So that's in there for you. Now, as we're flipping through the next few pages in your folder, you'll notice some really good websites. There's all kinds of things about how to apply and financial aid. There's, as I get to the next page, you're going to get to some things about scholarships and things like that. So those websites are ones that I use all the time, and you will need them. So it's a good resource to have in there. We go through just a few of those sheets. I'll let you read through them on your own, but I did include how to choose a major. That's when that iSeek cluster survey might come in very handy. And then you'll notice at the back some of the ACT and SAT information. I've included, there's some really good sheets for you to know which one you should take. While practicing for it's all good, but kind of specifically honing your practice for the one you're probably going to take and do better at is a very good idea. Now, I could tell you some things like the different math questions or how the literature pieces are presented. And if you want to talk with me, students, I gladly will help you with that. But I will tell you, for the most part, our students do better on the ACT. And that's where Princeton Review with their free practice tests comes in. They can be an incredible resource. Now, you may have heard, perhaps next year, a lot of the schools are also going to go test optional. That may be, but it's really important. It's like showing a whole picture of yourself. If you do really well on the test, if you go to the trouble to prepare for it, you take it, we present those scores, it just adds to the puzzle. They get to put together a really good picture of you. And if you do well, that is how they get some good scholarship money. Do you know right now this year, I have some seniors who have scored 34 and above. 36 is a perfect score. I promise you, they're going to get amazing scholarships. And the best way to get scholarships are two ways. And you're doing that right now: great GPA and your ACT scores or your SAT scores. That combination just elevates you in scholarships. So it is worth preparing for and worth doing, whether they consider it or not. Some schools are, some schools aren't, but it's definitely something I would recommend. And many of the admissions people say it just adds to the picture of who you are. So thankfully, most all of my seniors are partaking in that and really excelling, which makes me so proud. And my juniors, just so you know, some of the seniors are going to be doing a presentation in January, I believe, on special tips to help you. They call themselves the 34 and above club, I think, but it's really cool because they want to help you, not just be proud of themselves, okay? You'll notice coming up there's some the ACT test dates now sometimes they're adding some different ones, but those would be ones you'd want to register 1 month in advance for because, well, then when you register, you will tell them the 4 free schools you want them to send your test scores to, and you don't have to pay for those. So registering a month in advance holds that spot. I would not do it until the spring. Wait until things have kind of settled down, get as much math into your head as you can, because there are 7 pre-cal questions on the ACT test. So wait until the spring. You could even take the one in June, but we want you to be as prepared as possible. So just keep practicing right now to get ready for that. I even put a few little tip questions in there. And I want to tell you something. One of my seniors retook the test 2 weeks ago, and a week before he took the test, I gave him my little packet of tips, and he got 2 points higher. So I'm totally taking all the credit for that. So anyway, if you can use those, it might be helpful. All right, as we look through the very next one, one thing I'm going to recommend my students Media, what you have out on social media is very important. It tells a picture. My own mother worked at Ball State University in Indiana, and her job was to help the admissions education department. And she would peruse all of those social media files. Now, they can help you. In fact, some of you may want to look into setting up a LinkedIn account already, get a professional look going. But look at what kind of pictures you have on your Instagram or Facebook or anything you might be involved with. Be very careful. Be very careful about the friends you invite because they're linked to you as well. This can be a real positive when they look on your website or on your accounts. It can be a real positive. We don't want it to be a negative. And I will tell you, it is something they actually hire people full-time to do this. So it is a very real thing. And so that's why I've included that sheet, just to help you to be very careful. Beyond that, you're going to see a quick guide to application plans. Now, let me explain something that you'll want to keep in mind. When you do apply, and I'll tell you how to do that in a minute, you don't have to worry about it until late in the summer, but you want to choose early action. November 1, we ended early action, and I am so proud because nearly every one of my seniors made the deadline. Now, what that means is they will know before Christmas where they have been accepted. And otherwise, you might be waiting until the spring, and I don't want that for anybody. That's not comfortable. Plus, by then, all the scholarship money is gone. So we want to do early action. Be careful, don't choose early decision. Early decision is binding, and that can cost you money if you change your mind. So keep that in mind. The next sheet tells you how to apply. There are 3 ways. If you're staying in Texas, applying to Texas schools, we choose Apply Texas. If you're choosing schools outside of Texas, you go with the National Common. The other option is you can go directly to the school's website. And that is a pretty good idea if it's a small school. But the cool thing about choosing either National Common or the Common App is that it's one and done. You take time to put all that information in, and then you just select the different university codes to shoot out that information. So you don't have to type in all that information again. So that'll save you some time for sure. The next one, if you're looking at just Christian schools, I love this because it came out just 2 years ago. It's called U Application, and you can do one application and shoot it out to 4 different Christian colleges, and it only costs you $30. So that's a savings. Some universities can cost up to $65 or $75 to apply. And so if you can get a good deal like that, that is helpful. All right, the next sheet. I totally know that not everyone is meant for college. That's why I encourage you, if you're interested in the military, come talk to me. If you're interested in some kind of other internship or a tech college, I love Texas State Technical College. You can be in and out of there earning more money than I ever will in about 18 months. And they offer some really cool programs for gaming, videos, even becoming a pilot. So there are a lot of options that may not include going to a full 4-year university, because I know not everyone is meant to do that. So you'll see on that list some of the 10 best jobs that don't require college degrees that will help you to make a good living and be able to support yourself and your families. All right. Right now, since things are pretty virtual, I would really encourage you to look at the college fairs online. That's the next sheet. You can go to that website, and it will show you all of the college fairs like the one I told you about for this Sunday afternoon that you can attend without taking time to go to the school and get a really good feel of some of them all across the nation. Now, the next sheet attached to that is about college types. You can go to a large university like A&M or UT. Liberal arts colleges are a little bit smaller and might fit the bill if you're not quite sure what you want to major in. And then other than that, of course, there's tech colleges, there's beauty schools, there's all kinds of things that you might be interested in that I can help you with. The very back page is an awesome resource because it gives you all the information about when you can apply to particular schools, how much it's going to cost, their address. So it's a terrific resource. I use this all the time. But I've included one for you as well. And I think it's pretty much for Texas schools. Yeah, so it's very good to have the correct address, because if you send it just to the school, it may not get to the admissions department. So that's why that's a good resource for you. Okay, we're on to the right side of your folder now. And I know I'm going fast, but it gives you an idea of where things are located, and you can go back and do that. Look at that later. Okay, so if you'll go to the right side of your folder, you'll see something kind of cool. There's your college roadmap provided by Princeton Review. You can look at that later. It kind of, mostly the first 3 pages is a timeline for you, so you know what to do when. Now, I'm a professional NAG for my students, so I'm not going to let any deadlines fall through the crack. I keep you posted. I know some of the students probably say, why is she running after me again to tell me about that? But it's very important to not miss deadlines. So that might be something important for you to look through and make sure you're on track. Then I've included some things that might be helpful for when you go on college visits or you're perusing the websites. You'll see a college comparison worksheet. That's a really good way to rank a college in your mind. And of course, visiting a campus is a good thing. Many of them are open for you to visit if you like. And I offer 2 free days from campus this year that do not hurt you for absences if you want to go visit a school. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Maybe with Thanksgiving break coming up, that might be a nice family thing. Hit a couple colleges on the way to grandma's house, that kind of thing. The next one is a financial aid comparison chart. We really, college is just expensive. And so we want to make really good choices as far as the cost is concerned. So you can jot these things down or create an Excel spreadsheet, whatever works for you. The next sheet includes websites for financial aid information. Tons of financial aid goes unclaimed. Knowing where to grab that is a very important thing. So that's why I included those websites there for you to look at. Kind of the next scary thing the next thing for some people that is a little scary is when they have to do the FAFSA. It opens up October 1. Let me explain. It is free. It doesn't cost anything. You will do it next fall, October 1st. And this packet contains 3 or 4 sheets, and one of them is a helpful video. You can look at how to fill it out. FAFSA is a lot better than it used to be. They made it shorter, and it's fairly accessible. Students, you will do one, and your parents will do one. And then they fuse. Those go out to the colleges that you've been accepted to. And then in January, usually, they will send you your financial package where they will lay out what is your responsibility and what is going to be covered by scholarships, awards, grants. Those are things you do not pay back. Loans are things that you will have to pay back if it is necessary to take those out. So let me give you a few tips when you're applying. Whenever you choose either a research university or if you choose a school on the coast, either coast, it's going to cost you a little bit more. So if you're trying to save money, you might just want to keep that in mind. just, you know, because they're research facilities, they need to pay for that research. And so if that's helpful to know, you might want to consider that. On the FAFSA pages that I did include for you, there's things like how to ace the 12 trickiest questions and what you are required to include. So, and don't worry, as we get closer next fall, I'll send out something else helpful to you. Not only a reminder, but some little sheets that will help you through that. So, the next thing I want to share with you. You guys are doing great, by the way. All the parents want to know, tell me about the scholarships. And as I've told you, the two best ways are through those college entrance exam scores and a good GPA. So juniors, you only have 2 more semesters before I send that out. 6 semesters worth of grades comprise what I send to the universities. So end strong. It's very, very important. And you all are very smart, so I know you can do that. But if you are relying on a few other scholarships, you know, if you get several $1,000 scholarships, they pay for books. There's a lot of things those will cover, so you can definitely take advantage of those. I'm just starting with my seniors to help them with the scholarship process. First of all, we get you into college, then we fill out the FAFSA, then we worry about the scholarships. So there's a sheet that says scholarship websites for you. Those are all really great. And I'll tell you what's cool about them. If you go online, you fill out the profile, then they will just dump the scholarship opportunities into your email that are especially appropriate for you. So let's say you want to go into medicine. They will send you the emails that would be very pertinent for that field so that you're not wading through a lot of unnecessary ones that you probably couldn't apply to anyway. So that is very much worth your time to do that through FastWeb and collegescholarship.net, several of those that are listed there. Now, the next thing is I told you can take some college visits, and it's good to know what to ask. We want to impress them. We want it for the trip to be fruitful. So there's a sheet there with some things you might want to think about before you go that are important. Now, we have an awesome person in the office who I love, 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 but she does attendance, and she needs to know in advance if you're going away for the day. So that's why the next sheet is listed there, college visitation request and permission. You bring it to me, I approve it, your parent signs it, and then you give it to Mrs. Doobie, preferably a week in advance. So always think ahead about those visits you want to make. And you can fill out that sheet, and I have tons more in my office, and you'll be good to go. The next sheet is transcript request form. Whenever you apply to a college, which you will be starting that probably in July 1, this next summer, you have basically between July and October to finish that. Ideally, you could finish applying before you ever start your senior year. That would be very smart. Then all you have to do is focus on your classes. But when you fill out this transcript request form, I keep it as part of my file, and then we know for sure the date that I send out all of your information. Now, let me tell you, you do your application, insert your essays, you order your test scores to be sent, the official ones from ACT or SAT, but then I prepare a packet for you. Now, my packet has a lot of information that you wouldn't have access to. Some special things like why we don't rank. It really benefits our students that we don't rank, because ranking is great for number 1 and number 2, but beyond that, that will hurt the student. In a small school like ours, it is much more beneficial to not rank, and that gives the schools an opportunity to look at you from a holistic point of view. Like they look at all of the awesome activities you're involved with and how, like if you're in musical or you're an athlete, so many other things besides the rank. To be honest, I went to a huge, huge high school, a public high school. I was ranked number 7. I probably didn't get anything to go to college because of that. So it is much better, the system we have in place now. And so that's part of what I send out. I also write a letter of recommendation for you. And believe me, I spend a lot of time in the summer writing awesome letters that tell a great story about you. I take notes right now of all the awesome things that you are doing, my sweet students, so that I can prepare a great story for you. So when those scholarship dollars roll in, I totally take all the credit. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so there's a few things in the back that you should look at. It says helping your students create a resume for college admissions. Some schools like to see a resume. Some don't really want to see a resume. Now, here's what I always tell my students. Go to the website, look at all the requirements, and then you fulfill them so that we don't have any gaps. But doing a one-page resume that highlights some things that are not seen on the application, that's a good idea. And you can be doing that right now. The next thing is getting a recommendation letter from a core teacher. Everybody, you have to have one from the counselor, and that's why I make mine be a real doozy for you. But then you also get to pick a core teacher who knows you well, who can also tell a good story. And so I've included a sheet that you might want to include some of that information when you nicely ask a teacher to write a letter for you, because it helps them complete the story. Like they may not know that you're a real leader at your church or your youth group, or that you have a part-time job. All of those things are part of your story. And so that can be included. So you can look at that. You will notice it says Concordia campuses. The Concordia universities, our sister universities, love our students. I won't share any details, but I will tell you a huge portion of my seniors who have applied at CTX, Concordia, Texas, this year have received the presidential scholarship. That is $19,500 a year. That's an amazing scholarship. They love us. And they have a very special program that because you graduate from Concordia High School, they automatically will give you $8,000 for your 4 years there. It's called their Concordia Choice Award. So that is a huge blessing. So think about that. About the cost of a tuition for us for a year, you're going to get back if you go to a Concordia. That's a huge blessing. And there's tons of them all over the nation, even in Canada. So you'll see the list there. I would suggest choosing one. You can apply for free in about 22 minutes. Yeah, not long at all. And you can start applying right away in the summer. And the reason that's a good idea is, let's say you don't even want to go to a Concordia, that's okay, because then you have leverage. You have leverage to use with the other schools that they may find some money for you if they know you were so well rewarded by a Concordia. So there's method in my madness why I ask you to do that. And here's a really cool thing. A lot of my students who have applied there have realized that it's a great deal. They go there and they love it. So that's if you will just make sure one of the schools you apply to. I generally say about 5 to 7 schools is plenty, but I want to tell you, one of my seniors, he's going crazy this year. He has applied to over 40 schools. It's amazing. I need a raise for all the work I'm doing for that student. So I'm very excited for him. He's going to have some great offers, but I don't recommend that for everybody. 5 to 7 is plenty to give you a good, some good choices. Now, you're probably going, Mrs. Rep, I don't even know what colleges offer what I want to do. Well, I can help you there. Because on the last 2 pages on the right side of your folder, I'd really love it as a family, when we're finished, if you could read that letter that I've written, because it says the best choice is the best fit. My big thing I tell my students, choose a location. Where do you want to be? If you want snow, I can stick you up in Minnesota. If you want to major in a particular field, I will find that school for you. So you want to always consider your major and your location. Those are 2 really big things. So if you will read that, and then my sweet juniors, I have an assignment for you. Before Thanksgiving, I would love to have this sheet back from you that says your junior college plan. Because then all during Thanksgiving, I'm going to work on it. I will find some great colleges for you to peruse and help you with some of your decisions about a field you might want to go into. So if you will, as a family, read this letter, and then my students, please work on that at some point over the next few weeks and give it to me before Thanksgiving, because I'll have time to work on all of it for you. This is such a special time, my juniors, having your parents with you, helping you with this, supporting you with this. It should make you feel really good. And I truly appreciate your time, spending this time together. Now, as I mentioned, as we're working together in this process, I'm going to send you emails that are very important. So don't forget to check those RenWeb emails. And if you're interested in athletics in the college arena, I have information about that, or military. So many things I can help you with besides just colleges. But I'm already thinking about some great places for you as I know you well. And so I can hardly wait for us to meet and go through that college education plan. Then you can peruse the websites with your folks and get a good plan in place before we start the application process. Now, don't worry, juniors, in the spring, I meet with you again and I review all the steps that you're about to do, because there's a lot of time that's going to happen between now and the summer. So this is just the introduction, so you can start thinking about where you'd like to study or what you'd like to go into. And so that's kind of what I wanted to present to you tonight. I will open it up for some questions if you'd like. And I have a drawing for 5 lucky students. You get some resources and you can come pick them up in my office tomorrow. Okay, so if you will, I know I went fast, and since I live in this world, I may have forgotten some things to share. So please just raise your hand and ask away, and I will help you. Yes, sir.
First of all, this is pretty impressive. This is very thorough, so thank you for putting us all together. So you mentioned already that the tests are optional, or a lot of universities are making them optional. What else is changing this year because of COVID?
Mr. George, can you turn your microphone up just a little bit?
Yeah, let me see where, can you hear me better now? I'm not sure.
Maybe a little bit. I have mine up pretty high.
How's that?
There you go.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, it was set stuff for my headphones. That's why you couldn't hear me. Anyway,
there you go.
So first of all, I'm saying this whole thing is very impressive, and all the work that you have put in and that you're going to be doing going forward. So the other thing is, you talked about changes because of COVID, right? Like the test scores might be, at certain schools might be optional. What does this do? Because I'm sure, depending on your school situation, some kids are probably not getting the grades that they would get if they had been in non-COVID times, and et cetera, starting from last spring to now. So are they putting more weight on recommendations or essays, or how does that look?
You're exactly right. I will tell you, all colleges look at a student from a holistic perspective anyway. And so the scores are just one part of that puzzle. So what I recommend to my students who are choosing not to use test scores is that they want to make sure they're showing a really nice picture of themselves otherwise. So what are all the extracurriculars they're involved with? Making sure that their essays are strong, and of course, if those grades need to be nice and high. So there are certainly other ways we can paint a really good picture without the scores, but I will tell you, some of these schools require the scores for scholarship purposes. So you may not get all the scholarship money that we have in the past without the scores. But it is, if you're going test optional and the schools that you're applying to are allowing that, that's just something to keep in mind. We're kind of at a fluid time right now with this COVID. Things might change a lot in the next year. But right now, I will tell you, this year, every school my students have applied to is test optional for that reason. Okay. Yes. How about some other good questions I can help with? Yes, Ari?
So when is the earliest that we should start applying?
Oh, good question. It depends on the school. If you're applying to, like this year, A&M moved it from July 1st to August 1st. Most all schools are open by August 1st. This coming next year, they might have everything all fixed with COVID and go back to July 1. But I will tell you, this year, some of my seniors already were accepted to schools in June. You could apply to any of the Concordias already as soon as you have graduated. So that is a really awesome thing for you to consider. As soon as you graduate, as soon as you graduate, we prepare our transcripts. Mrs. Doobie is responsible for that, and she's awesome. She feeds them to me, and I ship them off to all the schools that my students have been accepted to. And so you just, it all happens like magic from there. So so just know that you actually could start doing it in June, definitely by August 1. But our key thing, of everyone, if you could shoot to be finished by FAFSA date October 1, you'll get a lot more money because they won't have run out. Okay. And school's expensive. I want you to have a lot of money. Mr. Turner, did you have a question? Yes.
You mentioned about the scholarships that sound fairly sizable to me for Concordia universities. What's the total cost to go to a Concordia university?
They vary. Some of the Concordias are a little more expensive than others. Right. You're probably, well, I don't know if you when you consider room and board, that adds to it, but it would definitely be in the 20s to give you an idea. So technically, a student, if they get a presidential scholarship, would maybe be paying $5,000 to $7,000, which is about the same as a public university. So remember that private schools are like sticker prices when you go to shop for a car. No one ever pays the full price, and they know that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Second question, has A&M done away with their legacy program?
They have not. They have not done away with it.
They still have the legacy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do they have a maximum number of recommendation letters?
They do. And a lot of I will tell you, when you write these essays, students, I will tell you for sure, because I have a lot of friends in the admissions world, they will look at your essay, they will give you 21 seconds, and then they stop reading. So if you don't impress them with a great story within 21 seconds, let's say that's why I say don't write a huge long essay they're not going to read it. You get 21 seconds, they go on to the next application. So you need to really impress them in just a very short amount of time. That's what I do in my letters of recommendation. So all the schools will allow one teacher and the counselor. It would not look good if I ever said, I cannot recommend this student, I'm not sending in a letter. Okay.
But you can't get a recommendation letter from anybody else other than one counselor and one teacher?
Well, some of the schools will allow you to put an optional one in, but that's when I said, if you go to the website, you'll see the exact criteria they expect. And so some of my students at some really fine schools, they'll say, yes, we want a third letter. And it can be from an outside source. But some of the application venues that I use, you actually cannot insert a third letter. So that's why it's always good to look carefully at the criteria that's on the website and then fulfill it.
All right.
Okay.
Specifically, I don't know the answer to that question specifically on that school.
They do not have a third letter, no. That's not to say you couldn't hard copy another letter. You just can't insert it in Apply Texas.
I got you.
Okay. Some other good questions I can help with? As you think about this and you talk together, this is why I include that parent perspective letter, because you can write down anything you want to talk to me about or email me so I can help you as you think about that. Okay, I know it's a lot of information and I'm sorry, I don't want to overwhelm you. I just wanted to give you a kind of a full idea of what we're looking at. So right now, students, you're doing really well in school, make awesome grades, start preparing for the ACT or SAT if you're choosing to take that. And I really wholeheartedly recommend it because our students do well, and it really just gives a whole nother puzzle piece for them to look at. It shows good faith that you were willing to practice and prepare and turn it in even when it wasn't necessary. So that's what I love when my students are doing that. So those are the two things you're doing right now. After you fill out my junior college form, then I can get busy for you and we'll narrow everything down so you know exactly where you're going to apply when it opens up this summer. Okay?
It's probably in here in the packet, but is there a site that would be good to go to just to start getting a feel for colleges? Say you could tick Midwest, small liberal arts, and it would show you the ones, or big schools, Texas. Some ways you just get a feel for that.
Sure. And you know what you might even want to do on the last page, well, let me just ask you, are you thinking for Nicole staying in Texas or going outside of Texas?
I'd like to explore everything at this point.
Okay,
I don't know.
sure. If you would like to, you can go to, there's several websites, but there's one called anycollege.net. And it's a link to all kinds of college sites. I mean, there's a lot of them. That's one I know of right off the top of my head. And you can put in maybe a major that's being considered, and it will generate several schools that offer that major. And just remember, students, I have tons of resources in my office that you are welcome to come see during study hall or after school, before school. I hate to see them go to waste, and you are welcome to come in and review those. Things like Rob Franik's 365 Best Colleges to Attend, or the Best Value Colleges. I have all those books. So, yes, that's another one. I don't know if you all can see that from Liam's there's an app called Niche that helps to compare universities. Basically, when you get your financial aid package, you will be looking at the what you are responsible for, and you can calculate that in the net calculator on every college website. So there's no question about what it's going to cost you when you put in the formula. But you have to wait for the FAFSA to come back and look at that financial package. So yes, there's lots of sites you can begin doing that. And that's part of the process. When I put those schools down for Nicole and all the students to look at, if you say, I only want to stay in Texas, those are the schools I will research for you. But if you're willing to go outside of Texas, we'll include those too. So you'll get a really good picture. Hey, and if you go to the college websites, they have virtual tours. They have all kinds of things now that you don't have to make the trip there. You can really get a feel for the university that way. Okay. So definitely don't forget that virtual college experience this Sunday afternoon, if you have some time to sit and look at that. Avery.
Since I want to attend A&M in the future, what do you think is like the best score in your experience to get?
Oh, good question. And
A&M?
colleges usually list the minimum. So for instance, let's just say one of you says, I really want to go to this school, and their minimum to attend is 32 out of 36. And the best score you can get is a 27. Then I would probably recommend maybe we don't apply to that school, or we really put together another strong package that goes along with that. For A&M, I will tell you right now that you're going to be looking at 27, 28 absolute minimum on the ACT. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, of course. The College Board website. In fact, I sent out something to you all today from the College Board. Not only do they offer some really great things for parents, and that's in here on that third page too. They also offer a lot of scholarship links as well. So it is a really awesome site for parents and students to peruse. Thank you. Okay, well, how about a drawing or 2 or 5? Students, I put your names all in this box, and I'm going to draw one out. I have 5 resources here. So I'm going to draw, and then you can come get them from me tomorrow. The winner. All right, here I go. The first book is called The U Fits. It's expert advice on finding the right college and getting accepted. And the winner is Lauren. Lauren Steinke is, I think she's at youth group tonight. So I'll have a surprise for her tomorrow. The next one is one of my favorite people in the world. He is so awesome. The author, he's the editor-in-chief of Princeton Review. He's the guy that travels like all year long to different colleges and ranks them. His name is Rob Franick. And this is College Admission 101. So it's going out to another lucky student, Jake. Congratulations, Jake. You can come get the book.
Yay, me.
Or I'll see you in class. I'll give it to you. All right. Now this one may be more for parents. This is 8 steps to paying less for college. Okay, here we go. Avery's the winner. You're welcome, Avery's dad. Okay, college application essays. This will help you write a really good essay, and we want to tell a great story about you. So I'll dig in again. Brad, come see me tomorrow. Brad's the lucky winner. Okay, and our last book is Colleges That Create Great Futures. So, Ari. So I have this book for you tomorrow. But all of you can access the resources I have available in my office. And I love to help you. I love to explore and research for you. So just send me all your great questions. And we're going to get busy and have a great year. Believe me, I think I get more excited about all this than you guys do. Thank you for joining me. Parents and students, I really appreciate your time. And we're just going to have a great year together, walking through this process. Okay? Well, thank you. Thank you for all your kind messages. I appreciate you.
Thank
Oh,
you. Thank you, Ms. Rowe.
and one,
Thank you.
Great,
Bye-bye.
great information.
yes, we'll talk later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Diane.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Shug.